Hello, and welcome back to Albert vs. the Asylum. While it's not the only thing they do, the Asylum is best known for ripping off big-budget movies and making smaller movies that have similar titles to the big-budget movies. And what better movie to rip off than the movie that itself ripped off a board game? That's right. Today, we're talking about the Asylum's American Battleships. Although some dumb poopy-head lawyers made him change it to American Warships in all the media, but trust me, the true name is American Battleships. Is it any good? Let's find out. I think the Asylum should put this in front of all their movies, because it is technically true. Thunder Levin? That's seriously the director's real name? Thunder Levin? Man, why can't I have a cool name like Thunder? We open on a scene in which some jets are attacked by an invisible force that seems to cause all of their electrical systems to short out.
Mayday, 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 this is Alpha Bravo 200. I'm going down. In keeping with the title of the movie, meet our battleship. I was told there would be more than one, but this is what we get.
It's hard to imagine being away from the Iowa. Commanding her has been one of the great honors of my life.
But now they're turning her into a museum.
Before she even gets to port, apparently. Seems kind of disrespectful if you ask me.
Welcome aboard, Admiral.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Ladies first. My God, the Navy's changed.
Wow. Where did they dig up this sexist old fossil? This guy's like 100. Ask him how the Great Depression was. Did he have to walk to school in the snow? Uphill? All three ways? I notice we don't get a shot of the men's butts as they climb the ladder. What? Our butts aren't good enough for y'all? You think men's butts are inferior? I protest! Equal rights for men's butts! Feast your eyes! Yeah!
The logs show that the final voyage of the Big Stick is underway.
Also, the ship is about to set sail. Hey-o!
Keep trying, keep me informed. Hey, Wexler, you're not a surfer yet, man. Get a haircut. Nice.
First we're turning the ship into a museum to explain away all the placards, and now this? Are we going to explain away every single factual inconsistency on screen? Is that a thing we're going to do in an Asylum movie? I'm not on board with that. No pun intended.
Chief Rollins, shouldn't you be concentrating on the task at hand?
I might need to take something else at hand any second now.
He's talking about his penis. We see the same mysterious force that attacked the jets at the beginning of the movie, now taking aim at a South Korean airbase. The captain is ordered to ignore their plight and continue on his path, but he ignores the order and goes to help. They get close to the island that's under attack, but something fires on them. They fire missiles at the attacking ship, but the ship disappears and the missiles crash into the water. We see the same weird sparks that disabled the jets from the beginning of the movie hit the Iowa, and their electronics go down. But even after the attack, the museum lady says their phones are still working.
You can call the gunners, engineering, almost any place on the ship.
I want you to scan the water for any disturbances. Like a wake with no ship causing it.
Yes, sir.
These people are behaving far too rationally for characters in an Asylum film. I ain't buying it.
It represents a clear and present danger to the
The
security
captain
of
and the
United
admiral
States.
argue about whether they should go after the invisible ship.
If we lose sight of its wake, we may never find it again on the open sea. You want to leave me my command? Do it.
Oh, please. He can barely relieve himself in the crapper.
Hell, Resume pursuit course, full speed. Somebody get me a damn radio working.
Rush Limbaugh's on at 12, and I do not want to miss it. They fire at random, hoping to reveal some sign of the alien ship.
Common Control, Return 1, we are fit west. No sign up.
What kind of accent does this guy have? Is he supposed to be South Korean? If so, why is he speaking English? And if he's supposed to be speaking English, why is he speaking it so badly? And why are there subtitles? I'm confused.
The only reason we can still run and steer.
They figure out the Iowa is only still functioning because it's an old ship that has analog equipment on it rather than the fancy newfangled electronics that the ships have nowadays.
I think I can be a lot of help if you'll just let me. Sir.
We don't salute indoors. Doctor.
Well, if you're gonna be like that, then forget it.
And satellites are showing a debris field in the last known position of the Enterprise carrier group.
How is that possible?
Well, the prevailing theory is that they all got blowed up.
Magnetic pulse. And wouldn't an EMP cover a wide area, not a specific target? And while we're at it, General, wouldn't you need a nuclear weapon to create an EMP?
Stop pointing out the plot holes in your own movie. How it works is, you make the dumb movie, and I point out why it wouldn't work. Come on, I got a family to feed here.
Take us to DEFCON 2.
The Iowa gets word that the Pentagon is sending bombers to China because they think that's where the ship originated. But the Iowa has to confirm the nationality of the ships before the bomber drops its payload.
This stealth ship that we're pursuing may be our only lead. We must find it. We must stop it before international tensions rise any further. Right now, we are the best chance at stopping an all-out war.
I'm sorry, but this is not how it works. You are not allowed to give a grand, inspiring speech that actually outlines the parameters of the mission that you're on. You have to be, like, vague and poetic. Those are the rules. Have you never seen an inspiring speech in a movie before? They never make any sense.
And even if the Koreans had a weapon like this, they wouldn't think they'd win an all-out escalation.
I don't think the North Koreans would have a stealth rowboat if the Chinese didn't design and build it for them.
North Koreans are dumb.
But Iowa's just got plain old VHS. If I could just get my hands on a working deck, analyze the video of the ship before it disappeared, maybe I could get you some answers.
While you're at it, see if you can dig up an 8-track tape player. I've got a Rush album I haven't listened to since the 80s.
You catch up with Dr. Flynn and see if she's got a video recorder powered by a rubber band.
An analog rubber band, though. Be sure it's analog. Those digital rubber bands they have now, those aren't going to work anymore.
All right. Everybody listen up.
The captain sends out the SEAL team to scout for the invisible ship in the dark.
Man, what I wouldn't...
I'm sorry. What are we looking at here? I can't tell if this is a really bad special effect or if we took a hard left turn into some kind of experimental film. The SEALs, ladies and gentlemen. America's elite fighting force. Okay, seriously, what alternate dimension did these guys go to? What happened to my Battleship movie?
And this one, here, could be from a Chinese Ludo-class destroyer. It's almost as if under the cloak the ship is made of spare parts.
I got it one piece at a time, and it didn't cost me a dime. You'll know it's me when I float through your town.
I would say the whole ship is covered in some sort of LCD panel, and it's projecting an image of what's around it, so when you look at it, it seems to disappear.
Unfortunately, when they bought the LCD screens at Best Buy, the sales rep kinda neglected to mention that they couldn't use the TVs at the same time as their weapons system. They tried to take them back, but they lost their receipt, and it was just a whole thing. Okay, let's try to figure this experimental film thing out. So, obviously, in this scene, the aliens represent women and their adversarial relationship with the male patriarchy as represented by the Marines. Yeah. Speaking of women, back on the battleship, Dr. Flynn and the lieutenant have a conversation together to check off the Bechdel test.
Caroline.
It is actually a really good scene. I like the conversation, and it adds something to both of their characters that's really needed in this movie.
Yeah, he's like that.
It's one dead Venusian.
Okay, that is just racist. These aliens are obviously from Neptune. You get out of here with your whole I can't tell people from outer space apart thing.
Korea's my ass! That's a damn Martian!
Pick a planet! Venus and Mars are not the same thing! Oh yeah, analog film. Old school is so great. You don't get that advancement sound from a digital camera, bub. Man, this guy's still in the movie? I was really hoping he'd had a stroke and died and they just decided to cut that scene.
Good morning, Captain.
Report.
I think we're almost ready, sir.
Let's see it.
The game of screen ball is very simple, Brian. You just sling your anchovies into your opponent's laundry basket. Oh, missed.
Do we get to eat the anchovies after the game?
No.
Next, the invisible ships go after the Chinese, and the Chinese declare war on the U.S. The last Marine makes it back from the experimental movie, but he's been horribly burned. I'm sorry, but was that really his only option?
He must have cut himself open just to hide that.
I mean, he could have put it in his mouth. Or the other place. The alien decloaks and fires back, and we see that they have more than one ship and the Iowa is surrounded. They send out another assault team, but these guys end up in the experimental film dimension too. Well, at least this time they didn't crash into it. The ship they find blows itself up, and they realize that most of the ships are drones being controlled by a central command ship.
What we need is a point-and-shoot weapon with more range and more bang for the buck.
Oh, hey, look. Which one of you guys knew we had those on board and didn't tell me?
It is.
And your museum people, they wanted her fully restored by the time we hit port, correct?
Yes, they did.
Now, my weapons officer said there's no shells in the magazine. Tell me, Dr. Flynn, are there 16-inch shells aboard my ship?
Yes, sir. Yes, there are.
Are you trying to tell me that your restoration team dug up live rounds to put in your museum? I am all in favor of historical accuracy, but that is taking things just a little bit far.
I think we may have something that'll give you a fighting chance against those energy weapons.
These suits are lead-lined.
You want me to dress up like the Tin Man?
Actually, we already cast the Tin Man. We were hoping you'd be Dorothy. I'ma get you. I'ma get you. I'ma get you. Here I come. Dang it. Because the movie has become so intense, we have to take a little break now to watch some footage from an air show. The new/old fleet shows up and gets blown up immediately. Which kinda raises the question why they were in the movie at all. They add nothing to the plot. 0 things were added to the plot by having these guys show up and get blown up instantly.
Every second they hold increases the chances of the Chinese spotting them.
This is a phone call I never thought I'd have to make.
Hello, Mr. President. Do you have Prince Albert in a can? Curse you, Rosie! That's a callback.
They're not gonna sink my battleship.
B9.
Stop me, I'm not trained for combat. These are my shells. You're gonna get yourself killed. I wanted to be a part of the ship since I was 5 years old. I'm gonna do my part.
Well, I've wanted to be an astronaut since I was 5, and guess what? I'm not doing this show from space.
All hands to control station. Carolyn!
Hey, that's Lieutenant Caroline to you, bub. Next, a strike team of beekeepers invade the alien ship.
More aliens?
Chinese.
Marines disable the main ship's controls, the smaller ships decloak, and the Iowa destroys them for good. Just as the president is saying he needs proof of the ship's origin to avoid conflict, the ship turns into a spaceship. Yeah! Take that for proof, Mr. President. We always are. And don't you forget it, Chinese person. The Iowa blows up the spaceship and the day is saved! Hoorah!
New planets in advance of colonization.
Looks like they won't get a chance to do that now.
This is an incredible opportunity to...
To what? To take a shower? To shoot off fireworks? To eat Polish sausage? What, man? What were you going to say?
Well, Captain, we saved the world.
What do you mean, we? You spent the entire voyage in the can.
Special request, let's say.
We jump to 1 year later. The captain and the lieutenant are married now, and the Iowa has been made into a museum. But the museum lady says that it still functions as a battleship, just in case. So that was American battleships. It's a bit of a weird one, but despite the really out there premise, it's kind of a grounded movie. You can tell Thunder Levin either worked on a battleship at some point or did a lot of research because he puts a bunch of painstaking detail into the technology and the military jargon. In some ways, that's a good thing, but in other ways, the movie takes itself so seriously it's almost hard to have fun with. And if we can't have fun with these things, why are we watching at all? Until next time, I'm Albert. You've been watching Albert vs. the Asylum. Watch out for them zombie dinosaurs, y'all.